Hello and welcome to the Lincoln Commission on Human Rights show. My name is Francisca. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator for this city, and we're excited to bring you a new show today. So with me is Jason Vargas. Thank you for being here. We are going to learn about what Cause Collective is. So I'm going to ask Jason to please introduce himself. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. It's good to be here. Happy Friday afternoon.
Yes.
My name is Jason Vargas. I'm the Executive Director for Cause Collective.
Go ahead. I'm gonna let you take over a little bit here.
I will try. I will go on. So I've been director now almost going on 9 years, and I've worked there maybe for 13 and been in nonprofits for, I don't like to say it this way, but I will for fun, a quarter of a century in the nonprofit world here in Lincoln.
Right.
This is, and I've worked at several different ones and loved them all. Just fell in love with working with refugees and immigrants and other fields, but this feels like my home job. This is a kind of a central agency, which we'll get into in a little bit, but I love being in the middle of everything and helping people connect and make things more efficient and stronger. So.
Absolutely.
Our mission, in fact, is to strengthen nonprofits to better serve the community through collaboration, education, and advocacy.
That is a great way of putting that. That is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Your mission, I had never really thought of your mission, but that is a great way of putting that. Thank you. And as you started saying, it is bringing nonprofits together. So now what I'm going to ask is if you could please explain what that means, because obviously you're a nonprofit and here you are bringing other nonprofits together. So will you please explain to our audience what that really entails?
Absolutely. So we do that, again, in the 3 areas of service through collaboration, education, and advocacy. And in respect to bringing them together, overwhelmingly falls into the collaboration end. So within collaboration, I put also the category of information sharing. So when you're working with a, certain size city, I actually think this is a model that should be, and not Cause Collective itself necessarily with our name, but a lot of cities could use this model where there is a central agency helping to organize the entire sector of nonprofits. Whether you're serving refugees and immigrants, serving the LGBTQ community, or mental health or substance abuse, we all have things in common.
Absolutely.
And we all are stronger and can learn from each other if we know what we're all doing and where we're at. Right. So and I think, to be honest, Lincoln does that well on its own, kind of the Midwest nice, if you will, or Nebraska nice. We're good people, and we're in it for the right reason. So I like to think that Cause Collective helps enhance this and provides this in perpetuity. So we'll always have a strong, connected nonprofit sector in Lincoln, because one of my favorite phrases to apply, and all my friends in the nonprofit world are going to laugh at me because I say this all the time, but I truly believe this. The better we know each other, the better we work together.
Absolutely.
Because that has 2 meanings to me. So again, if you're working in one area of service with a nonprofit, you want to know all the other nonprofits serving a different area, because that chances are a person getting help from you as a refugee or immigrant, they may need help in this other area. Right. So we can get people to the right place sooner for all the needs that they may have, even if it's not at that time. Right. You may have someone you're serving come back in a year and say, I need help with this now. Oh, I know where to go. You go over here and talk to Francisca because she does this and this. So that interconnectedness, knowing what we're all doing, who we're all serving, gets people to the right place sooner, more efficiently, if you will, and also increases the chance of them taking advantage of that service. Sometimes that call or wanting to get help is a hard call to make, right?
Yes.
And you don't want to have to make 7 calls to get to the right place. If we can reduce that, say on average, to 2 calls, that person will much more likely follow through and take advantage of that service. And in the end, be even better for it. The second reason also is, I like that phrase, is it applies to us just because, and it's no secret, working in nonprofits can be stressful, like many jobs, not to diminish any other stressful job, but serving people in need or just working to get donations, asking for funds. That can cause a lot of stress, and there's a pretty high burnout rate actually with management staff and nonprofits too. So by supporting each other, we have for example, a monthly meeting where we just see each other. We have roundtables where we can support each other, and having a place to confide in people that have similar challenges. We're building that morale and that strength among ourselves to kind of de-stress and keep I feel part of my role is to keep executive directors or management or case managers, first greeters, any level of staff in their jobs longer by helping them de-stress a little bit. So we're providing those services to the staff at nonprofits so they can de-stress and they can learn and they can get those educational services faster and sooner.
How eloquently well put.
Oh my God, I've never heard anyone say that. Thank you so much. You made my Friday.
Well, and the reason I say that is I have known what you do, but there's so much more to learn about what you do.
Yeah.
And unless someone like myself is attending those monthly meetings, I really didn't quite understand it until right now that you have the way you explained it. So no, it is eloquently well put. Thank you very much. Will you please give some examples, or do you have some examples of what kind of educational pieces, or what is it that you do to try and help de-stress some of the directors of those nonprofits?
Absolutely, yeah. We have had, one of the first things when I started a new service that we began was something called Executive Directors Roundtable. And that has met every single month for the last 8.5 years. We have not missed. Now I have missed one, I think, maybe two myself, because I enjoy it too as an executive director. I learn more than I give, of course. But we've had an average of, I think, 7 directors there every single month over the last 8 years. And that's just an testament, and I half jokingly tell them, if you just need to escape out of your office for an hour, just come to the round table and get away, and that's help. And that's up to them if that's part of work or not. But often it is overwhelmingly the concerns that come up in that are something that someone else has experienced. So we have a wonderful, it seems to work out most of the time. We have a wonderful mix of an experienced executive director and someone who's new and they may say something like, I have an HR issue, I've never dealt with this. A lot of times they know the answer, but just having a safe place to talk about it and say that out loud and say, all right, it's never should be enjoyable to let someone go. But sometimes we have to, but having a place to plan that out, get some advice, or just go through that process with other people that have had to do that before. That is a great way I hope that helps de-stress them too. And we have other groups too. We just started last week, 2 weeks ago, we had a launch party for a new program called Elevate Empowering Nonprofit Professionals. And it will have a similar function, a little bit more of networking. So we want, again, another way we want to encourage people who are new to the nonprofit world or the younger generation to stay in the nonprofit world by giving them a space to come and learn from each other, learn what nonprofits are all about, what it's like to work there, and say, hey, have you ever done this, or have you worked at this place? Communicate about different jobs. You know, we do sometimes bounce around different nonprofits as we want to move up or just move around, depending on what's available. So that will be another avenue that we provide through Cause Collective, where we can just connect people and help them, again, stay in the nonprofit sector.
Absolutely. That is awesome. Because I think one of the things that sometimes we, and I say we as in leaders within our community, we forget or we don't put in those steps to make sure that we bring our newer generation or younger generation to take over some of these roles. And some of the nonprofits find themselves in a situation, well, who's coming up next if they don't have anybody already in line? So that is awesome.
Exactly, yeah. And then we've had, there's always waves of people retiring and moving around. And in Lincoln right now, the last couple of years, we've had a lot of very deservedly so executive directors retire. So we want
Yes.
to empower the next generation, or associate executive directors, whoever they are, to step up in that role.
Absolutely, and it's something that we should be thinking about.
Yeah.
It's because there's makes no sense to hold on to something that if we wanted to continue on, we have to elevate our younger
Yeah.
generation. So that is awesome.
Cool.
I'm excited to see how that comes about. So I don't know if this kind of leads into this, but what are some of the challenges you see with nonprofits, and how does Cost Collective help them?
Oh, good. Thank you. Great question. As in any sector, there's always challenges,
Yeah.
and there's a saying you may have heard in nonprofits, and it's a good saying, and it's a good aspiration. We always say we want to put ourselves out of work,
Yeah.
because that means whatever group of people you're trying to help with or problem you're trying to solve will be solved, or they won't
Right.
need help. And that is, I love thinking of it that way too. But it's
Right.
also not realistic too.
No.
We will always have nonprofits. There will always be people in need,
Yes.
and we will always be here to help them.
Mhm.
So often, don't quote me on a percent of people, but overwhelmingly, people start nonprofits for the right reason, because they have a passion and they want to help people. A vast, overwhelming number of people. And in fact, I haven't seen otherwise. I just can't prove it's 100%.
Right.
So that is good. Also, overwhelmingly might be a little strong, but a lot of times they have not had experience in running a business too.
Yeah.
And that's not we don't want them to stop doing what they do. We don't want them to stop caring. I don't want to decrease their level of passion in supporting the community, but
Right.
they might go out and incorporate as a nonprofit and then realize, oh, I've got to do this and this
Yep.
and this and this and this, and then still serve the people or animals, whoever they're serving,
Right.
after they do that too.
Right.
So that's where we would come in and say, we don't want you to give up. Now that you're incorporated, you're a nonprofit, here's what we can do to help.
Right.
We have near 30 educational courses a year. I should say a training. They're
Training.
typically an hour and a half training on a number of topics. These topics are decided by the membership, the nonprofits themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a survey, say, if I get a huge feedback, they all say, we want trainings on leadership skills, because I'm a new executive director or a new manager. We'll set a training of series on leadership. Or it might be fundraising, grant writing, human resource. There's
Yeah.
a number of different things. So we listen to that feedback, and then we plan out, usually 6 months at a time, a
Mhm.
series of trainings focused on the nonprofit based on what our membership feedback is. And then we have some that just come up where being in a quarter of a century in the nonprofit, and I talk to my other friends that have been in the also a quarter of a century. I
Yeah.
won't name names, but people have been around a while. We might come up,
Yes.
and the funders are a big help on this, because they have their eye on everything too. So they see sometimes a need that just may come up, and we might, I don't want to say push in a bad way, but we might suggest, say, this would be good for all nonprofits to do. We're going to do some trainings for you on this. And again, make that more accessible, much cheaper,
Right.
and much more efficient, and help them make that running the business easier, so they can even more focus on those that they're serving.
Right. Wow. So there's a lot more to Cost Collective than what we thought, right?
There's a lot. We're busy.
No, and that's great.
I
It is
love
great
it.
to know,
Yeah.
because I don't think, excuse me, I don't think people ever get into a nonprofit thinking they know everything, or they don't realize the amount of work that you have to
Sure.
put into a nonprofit. And if there is no degree in being a nonprofit director or working for a nonprofit, so I think Cost Collective kind of takes that part of it and makes it a little, not, I wouldn't say easier, but certainly encompasses a lot more training than you would get going out and getting a
Exactly.
business degree.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I so appreciate you being here today. I think it's important for our community to get to know what else Cost Collective does, and you certainly have brought some of that information to the table. And this is for anybody who would like to, if you're thinking about becoming a nonprofit, or you have a nonprofit and you haven't had an opportunity to talk to Jason, I know that he would love to hear from you. So thank you, Jason, for being here with us today. You will get some information at the end of this show. I would highly encourage you to reach out to him if you have any questions. I know that he will give you an opportunity to come to a meeting to see what it's all about. I was a little overwhelmed when I did assist that meeting. I was like, there's a lot of people, and I don't think that was even half of what I saw you normally have at a meeting. So thank you.
It was fun to see you there, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So with that, you'll get the information at the end of this show, and thank you very much for being here today. So remember, we all have rights.